Halo. This was my mom's anthem. In 2009, right around when Beyonce released this song, it kind of became her song. Every time that I would hear it, my aunt, my cousins, my now husband, we would know that Gail was near. I guess I just wanted to make sure she was here today. And she is. And we are too. This is so great. Do you know what it took for all of us to be here today? It was more than just making sure the beautiful Encore event space was available and all of the hard work that Natalie and Jen had put in. No, this took millions of years in the making. Do you know that you have a 1 in 400 trillion chance of being born, of you being you, getting the cards dealt to you that you've gotten? That's amazing if you think about that. We are miracles. And if there's one thing that you take away from my time up here, that is to remember that we are miracles. Every day is a gift. It's literally all we have. Please remember that. So, losing my mom the way that I did, somewhat tragically, the fragility of life is not lost on me. But I really started thinking last year about the miracles, I guess, that we all are and how we came to be. I don't know, some sort of like a midlife, no, call it a crisis, but just some reflection. And I started to think about how I got here. And I was conceived in Reno on a fun-filled trip from the Culinary Institute of Seattle. Some instructors and students went down for the weekend, and 2 of those people decided to gamble, and they made baby. I still believe I'm probably the best thing that those chefs ever created. But maybe your story is a little more traditional. Maybe your parents met in high school and did the whole thing, did not have a shotgun wedding. But still, how were they at that school together? Because their parents moved to that town, or their parents, thousands of years of decisions and little teeny tiny shifts that got you to where you are today. And so it's kind of what I want to talk about today, is the small shifts, piggybacking on Allie, the shifts and the changes that have such a huge impact. And the fact that we're all here today learning and connecting and growing and serving and just wanting to be better, that's everything. That is everything right there, because today is exactly where it starts. We have to be the change today that we want to see tomorrow. It doesn't work the other way around. Tomorrow will meet you where you are today. Who here knows the when I then I? You know, the when I get the thing, then I'll do the thing. The when I get the new exercise machine, then I'm really gonna hit it. The when I finally have some time, then I swear I'm gonna start writing that book that I've always wanted to write. And then what happens? It doesn't. Tomorrow never comes, or if it does, you're still the same person that you were yesterday. The exercise machine starts to become a place where you hang laundry in the basement. Guilty. We can't outsource our motivation. We have to make it start today. And this is not a you thing. This is biology. This is our brains doing its one only job, and that is to keep us alive and safe. So that is why old habits are hard to break, new habits are hard to start, because it perceives anything out of the norm. Danger, someone's trying to kill me. Right? And so we stop. our brains would rather keep us in an uncomfortable hell than a new, beautiful heaven. So I know this all too well. I was in a very uncomfortable hell for a long time. I got on a ride and I didn't know how to get off. Like Nat had said, I'm raised by chefs. I do food. I love helping people with food. I love making, eating, talking about food. My love of food has been constant, but my relationship with it has been complicated. Around 15, 16, I started developing an eating disorder. And I say develop because like all habits, good or bad, or skills, it takes time, you gotta work at it. And I did, and I got good. By the time that I was out of high school, looking back now, I had trained my brain to rely on binging and purging as a way to totally escape, to avoid life. And so, life starts to get a little lifey out of high school. You have to make some big girl decisions and do some things. There's forks in the road. And I would just retreat. I would freeze. I couldn't do it. So I did that for a few years, or several years, but sought help, was prescribed Prozac within seconds of meeting one therapist, saw a couple other professionals, and then I decided that I needed to move. I was living in the Pacific Northwest with my family. I needed a change of scenery. And so, where does one go in the throes of an eating disorder? You go to LA. I mean, no offense to Los Angeles, but if an eating disorder could be a physical location, it would have been LA, especially in the early 2000s. People were so skinny. Thank you, Dr. Atkins. So there I was, flying under the radar now. No family, no friends. It was just me, my illness, and the coinciding, often alcohol-related, bad decisions that went with it. And then in December of 2004, I woke up. But not in the, I see the light type of way wake up. I woke up on a couch, in a room, in a house that I did not recognize. I had no idea where I was. The sun was pouring in, it was beautiful. Was this a nap? The last thing I remember, it was sunny. Did I stay the night somewhere? Is this a Disney situation? I've been sleeping for like 2 months now? I had no idea. But I look over for clues like one does, and I see on the coffee table next to my purse and a phone, a note. And the note says, it explains to me that the couple whose house I was at found me passed out behind the wheel of my Jeep Wrangler in an LA intersection. And they scooched me over next to my bottle of Chardonnay and drove me back to their house and thankfully didn't harm me. And so when I think about why we are where we are and who we are and all of the little bits and pieces that went into making us, I think about them and that day and the impact that they had on me. For whatever reason, they were running an errand at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and they were meant to find me. That situation could have been a lot worse for a lot of other people. I think of them often and send them thanks. I've never met them or talked to them ever. But life went on for me. Continued my rock bottom era. And then in April, or in March, just a couple months later, my mom decided, she didn't know how bad things were for me, but she decided that it was, maybe I'd go to Cleveland and stay with my Aunt Jane, who was living here, raising her young kids. And I was in between jobs at the point, because that fateful day that the couple found me, I was in a self-perpetuated shame spiral because the night before was our work Christmas party at Duke's in Malibu where I worked. It was an amazing restaurant, it still is, my dream job. And I made out with a coworker. And my boss saw us, and I was mortified. You know, of course, Paul, the GM of many years, had never seen two drunk kids kissing at a Christmas party. But I could never go back there. So anyway, to Cleveland I went. But, as a lot of us know, wherever you go, there you are. So I did Cleveland for a month, and then flew back to LA that April, and just really feeling dejected, and it almost kind of makes me think of maybe an arranged marriage, reluctant bride of an arranged marriage, on her way to her new life, hopeless, maybe helpless, but then also a level of acceptance. This is just how it was going to be for me. And so I start on that plane, I start running through the list of all the things I'd never get married, all right, that's fine, whatever. Never have kids, okay. I would never get to have a career in food, you know, I don't even know how to be in the same room healthily with food. Okay, and also probably not going to be around that much longer anyway. I mean, passing out at intersections in broad daylight doesn't exactly scream longevity. So, yeah. But then we hit a rough patch, some turbulence. And this might be a shocker, but back then, the anxiety mess that I was, I didn't make for easy flying. So I do like all of us nervous flyers do, and you start talking to God. Please don't let the plane go down, please don't let the plane go down, please don't let the plane go down, oh my God, oh my God. You know, keeping it afloat with your mind. And then all of a sudden, I kid you not, this voice came through, and it said, "Why do you care?" Rude, but also, okay, I see you. You've got a point. Why do I care? And that was it. I went through, you know, I realized that I wasn't living my life. How dare I ask for life when I wasn't even appreciating the miracle that I had been given? I mean, I was suicidal. I was knowing that one of these days I'm laying on the bathroom floor, that was going to be it. My mom was going to get the call. Why would I want life now? And that was it. I made a shift right then and there. I got off that plane a new woman. And every day after, started making little tiny shifts and little tiny changes. The outcomes of that day are massive. I did get married. I do have a son who spreads light and love wherever he goes. I do have a career in food. I catered weddings and first birthday parties and Passover gatherings. I've made people's gatherings more joyous and more delicious. And all of that is a direct result of the small, tiny shifts that I implemented afterwards. So I didn't have a blueprint back then. I just knew that I wanted to live better. And I think that was another thing. That I think, you know, we're not as smart as we think we are. Again, it's very primal up here. We just want to stay alive. This brain wants to keep us alive. And I think that sometimes we try and take away instead of adding. And so for the first time in all of my attempted recoveries, it wasn't that I don't want to be bulimic anymore. It was, I want to live, period. And so every decision then after was about living. So, shift. All good talks have an acronym, and this talk is meant to. So looking back now, these are some of the things that I did and some of the things that I still do to this day when I need to make small or larger shifts in my life. Start small. Again, these are no-brainers, but it's so helpful. Start small, teeny tiny steps. In the early days of my recovery, this was making my bed in the morning and having a coffee. Like that was me letting me know I wasn't going to die, taking the day by the horns instead of just getting up and then spiraling. If you want to be a runner, are you going to go out tomorrow and just start running? No. Go buy running shoes. And then maybe put the shoes on next week. And maybe you just walk around the house. And then maybe the next week you go for a walk. You see where I'm going. We just small, tiny steps, letting yourself know that it's okay. Habitualize. H. Make it a habit. We hate hard things. Make it easy for yourself. James Clear wrote the book, Atomic Habits. Highly recommend. It's amazing. He, I think, coined the phrase habit stacking. Lump it together with something that you already do. We all brush our teeth in the morning. I don't know, maybe you brush your teeth and do some squats. Back when I was first recovering, it was going to a yoga class and then hooking on an OA meeting, an Overeaters Anonymous meeting. Most of it for me, 80% of it for me was just getting out of my apartment. I. Identify and identity. Identify the trouble spots. We all know them. The triggers that you have, the time of the day that you get a little bit snacky, or maybe the friend that you love, but sometimes you guys have just a little too much fun. Get in front of it. And then identity. Who is the runner, the 5K runner? Who is the woman that sits down and writes every day? Be that person. Feel. This is tough. You have to feel. You have to feel your feelings. Feel what's going on. T, thanks. This is my favorite, the gratitude practice. Keep your attitude of gratitude strong. I swear to you, it is a game changer. Write down your wins, big or small. Again, you're retraining your brain to see that you're not gonna die. You're taking these little, small steps. Thank the people in your life. I like to say, bless your ex. Bless the people, that annoying coworker, or your ex, or whatever, because they've all helped to get you to who and where you are today. And again, that's a miracle. So, back then, for me, it was about relearning myself, relearning my feelings. It was relearning my relationship with food. Why am I hungry? Am I hungry? Am I just thirsty? It was about building self-trust, most importantly. Now, food is a very, very weighted subject. We love it, a lot of us. I've talked to some of you. You hate making it. I want to help with that. It helps us heal, but it can hurt us. We celebrate with it. We grieve with it. If you've ever lost someone, you know that people just show up with food. People are desperate for it in this world. And there are people like my former self that have no idea how to live with it. So if you are going through any food issues right now or have gone through food issues, and I'll add, it is the only abused substance that we have to learn to live with. We don't have to drink alcohol. We don't have to do drugs. We have to eat. We have to find peace, balance, and harmony with what we put in our bodies. And you don't have to, but take it from me, it makes life a lot tastier and a lot more fun. So give yourself grace if that's what you're going through right now, because it is hard. So nowadays, this is what my arsenal looks like for holistic living. This is not fixed. This is just a blueprint that I try and live by. Again, we're talking progress over perfection. This does not mean that there are nights that my son doesn't eat Trader Joe's French fries for dinner, or a night that I have maybe just a big lunch and then I have a piece of red velvet cake that I made for dinner with ice cream. Nothing's perfect, but these are some things that help. Our nutrient-dense foods. Like Ali said, limit the processed foods. We're very good in this country at villainizing foods. We're also very good at putting a lot of unnecessary shit in our foods and serving it to the masses. So just read the ingredient label. I know that I'm lucky, I know how to make some things. Limit the processed foods. The 3 Ps, protein, probiotics, plant-based. Unless you've been living under a rock, you know that protein has an amazing PR person. We all need our protein, and it's true. Protein does so much for our muscles, our brains. Echoing what Ali said, I generally try and eat good, sustainable, local meats, organic meats, non-antibiotics, probiotics. Gut health equals great health. These are kefirs, yogurts with live cultures, your kimchis, your sauerkraut, not sauerkraut in the middle of the store, anything cold, active, live. These are so good for us. There's so many amazing studies out right now telling us how our guts control everything. Without a healthy gut, we can't digest. Even if you try and eat healthy foods, you're not getting the nutrients that you could be. Plant-based, I generally don't eat a ton of meat, so I love my veggies, I love my tofus. It's better for the planet. Community, this is everything to me. Find your people. If you need a support group, it's out there, I promise you. If you need a running club, they're out there. Find your friends. We need each other. Someone needs to hear your story. You need to hear someone else's story. The Overeaters Anonymous meetings saved my life in the beginning. I would be inspired by someone, and then one meeting, this gal looked at me and she said, "Oh my God, you've gone a week without purging? How are you doing this?" And I realized that I was inspiring someone, that for the first time in a long time, my life felt purposeful. Find our community. Meditation and mindfulness. This has been a game changer for me. I try and meditate every single morning for at least 5 minutes. Just being with yourself, even if that's a walk in nature, it's so important. Mindfulness in what we're eating. If you want to eat pizza, that's fine. But if you're eating pizza because mom and dad never said they were proud of you, there's not enough pizza in the world. Sit with that, feel that feeling, understand. And don't do that to pizza. Pizza's so good. We don't need to abuse pizza like that. Abuse Brussels sprouts or something. No, I love my Brussels sprouts. Mood over food. We all hear that we shouldn't operate heavy machinery while under the influence. I feel the same is for eating and drinking as well. If you're sad, if you're stressed, if you're anxious, don't eat. Or don't make food decisions. Just sit, get back to center. Intuitive and intentional, kind of right there with mindfulness. What are you hungry for? The why we want to eat, but also the what. Do you want a salad? Have a salad. Do you want a burger? Have a burger. And then be with that food. Be intentional with it. Who has ever done this, aside from myself, where you're eating something, you're berating yourself, you know you shouldn't be eating this, oh my God, you've already had one, now you're having another, and then, yeah, next thing you know, you've eaten like a quarter or a half of the tray of brownies. And like, what the hell? They're gone, and you just spent that whole time talking shit to yourself. You could have been just sitting there enjoying the brownies, being present with the brownies. Maybe you wouldn't have eaten all of them, I don't know, but just at least appreciate them. So, I'll leave you with this question: where can you shift? Is it your perspective? Is it overriding that negative bias that we all have to look at something as half empty? Maybe we see things instead of threats as opportunities. Maybe it's our diet. Maybe it's exercise. What small steps can we take today to make that shift? I look around, I've met so many of you. It's very clear that we want more than just alive. I think that we all want to thrive. So let's do that. Let's thrive. Let's go be the change that we want to be. We can do this. All right, you guys, thank you. Be kind to yourself and others.